Monday Night Raw has just wrapped up. We have a new Intercontinental Champion, more teases of someone else becoming the sixth in the Wyatt Six. The big trucks did, in fact, eat the little trucks, so we have a last man standing match next week. Xavier Woods is going off the rails. Drew McIntyre is promising to hurt CM Punk, and so much more. Hello, everybody. I'm Xander, and welcome back to Wrestle Luigi, and welcome to my Raw just wrapped up 20 seconds ago, so let's review the show review. Now, I will admit, when I started doing this channel, I was a little hesitant to do reviews, but we're going to jump right into the Raw review. Now, this is more of a review than a recap. This is me hitting my highlights. If you don't know, I do live watch-alongs to Raw, NXT, TNA, and SmackDown every week that I can, as well as premium live events for WWE, NXT, and TNA. Now, all that being said, let's jump right in with Raw. Raw started off strong this week for me. Very good show right out of the gate. Had the Liv and Dom segment. They roll up in the lowrider. Thought that was really cool seeing them roll up like that. I really like their dynamic together. Liv and Dom have an incredible dynamic in that ring. They've got just such good chemistry together. It's just almost natural chemistry at this point with them. And it is just a ton of fun to watch them do it. And especially the big announcement that Dom is going to be put above the ring in a shark cage at the Bad Blood event while Rhea and Liv have their match. Which Dom being in a shark cage above the ring, track record kind of shows with that probably means Liv is somehow winning, because usually when people get put in shark cages, they don't tend to stay in there very long. They tend to find their way out, or they tend to find a way to get involved. Looking back at Jericho at the Royal Rumble 2017, things like that. Pretty rare that the person who has someone in a shark cage above the ring that's supposed to be there to help them ends up losing the match. It's not saying it won't happen, but I do feel more and more confident that Liv is probably walking out of Bad Blood as champion, one way or another. As much as I would love to see Rhea get it, that opening segment was incredibly great. Rhea revealing she's completely clear despite the attack on her leg. That headbutt was absolutely vicious. Solid opening to Monday Night Raw. After that, we had another incredible way to open the show. Sami Zayn and Ludwig Kaiser showing why they are two of the best on the Raw roster right now. Great matchup between them. Ludwig Kaiser continues to prove his star power is growing more and more. He is so good in that ring. He is so smooth. He is going to be someone to watch out for. He's going to be a great Intercontinental US level guy one day. And, I think with the right build, maybe even a world title challenger one day down the road. But that day is not today. And it also was a great way to build the Sami and Gunther match that we're eventually going to get. And what came after that, and I absolutely loved this as well, was Gunther coming down to the ring in full ring gear, talking like he was going to give Sami the match right then and there, only to just smile and go, nah. My big issue with Gunther for so long, and it's an issue a lot of people had, was that he seemed very boring. He seemed very bland. He didn't have much personality. So I've always liked Gunther, even when he was Walter in NXT, when he was Walter on the Indies. And yes, it's pronounced with a V. He's Austrian, which and his native language is German. In German, W's are pronounced as V's. I have a college minor in German. Don't fight me on this unless you're from Germany. Um, Anyways, that being said, my big thing I always heard people say with Gunther is that he was boring. He lacked personality. My dad, who was a longtime wrestling fan, loves old school throwback wrestlers. I thought he would love Gunther. When he first saw him, it was the Royal Rumble 2023. He thought he was very boring, very basic, very bland, very no personality. I've not talked to my dad about Gunther since the kind of personality swap up that we've got going on with him now. But I do think a lot more people are going to be into Gunther now. I know I personally am a lot more invested in him than I already was. Like I said, I've been a fan of his for a while, pretty much since he got to WWE. I'll admit I didn't really know much about him when he came into WWE. I won't be one of those people that's going to sit there and act like I knew everything. I didn't. But that being said, I have been enjoying Gunther's run with this world title and everything beforehand so much that I am now even more hyped for the inevitable Sami and Gunther clash along the way. What also was really interesting is the continued tension between Kofi and Xavier Woods. I've been really enjoying this as well. We got more of that backstage. Kofi trying to bring back the old New Day with the trombone, the pancakes, the bootios, everything else. And Xavier saying that he wants to push forward because all that stuff, all that fun stuff was fine when they were on top 10 years ago. But now they haven't been champions in, what, 3 years now? Something like that. 3 years, I think. 2021. And so in Xavier's mind, they need to push forward with something new. And Kofi's put Xavier in charge. of the New Day, which I'm very fascinated to see where this goes. We saw a little bit of it later in the show. We'll get to that as we go. I do want to give a quick little shout out to the Fightful Twitter. I'm kind of using that to help work through my recap here to make sure I don't accidentally talk about things out of order. Now, I'm talking about a lot of positives with Raw because it was a very solid Raw tonight. I'm gonna give it a grade at the end of the video here. But my one big issue with Raw was an over reliance on the replays of the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes video package from Friday on SmackDown. Now, the cinematography of that segment, amazing. The content of it, the more I watch it, the more I realize, Cody doesn't look that great in this. And the reason I say that with Cody not looking that great in this, I am a huge Cody fan. I will openly admit I'm a huge Cody fan. Um, that being said, I prefer Cody to Roman. That being said, in that promo video, Roman is in the stadium and Cody thanks him for playing football like he served in the front lines of a world war. And when Roman says, "This is what all I've done for Atlanta, what have you done?" Cody proceeds to say, "My dad is Dusty Rhodes, and this is what he's done for this city. My brother, he asked you what you did for Atlanta." Um, Awkward. Like, that's my big issue with this Cody Roman bloodline thing is Cody's the only guy that's going to get damaged from all of this, and it seems inevitable that he's going to get damaged from this unless it's leading to Cody and Jacob down the road, but you don't really have many more opportunities to do that. It's almost October. That being said, that's my major negative of the night. We then went into Dragon Lee against Carlito. Dragon Lee won as he should have, which was great. Dragon Lee looked great in this. I'm really glad he did. Random side note, this is just me. Cruz del Toro without a beard looks so odd to me. It looks like a different person. Um, when he used to be Raul Mendoza back in NXT, if he had shaved the beard the same week they changed his name to Cruz del Toro, I would have believed Raul Mendoza got released and they just randomly replaced him with someone else. That's just me. You know, the beard, I mean, speaking from experience, if I shaved this off, I look like a different person. So, and that's not happening unless you donate $500. That's the genuine number. That's how much it would cost. But Dragon Lee, fortunately, getting the win over Carlito. That's what we needed to see. Before this as well, I didn't see this mentioned in the little live tweeting section, so I forgot about it. There was a really fun little backstage segment with Ilya Dragunov kind of mocking the Judgment Day a little bit without Finn there, and JD kind of cowering out of a fight with Ilya. Made Ilya look really good because everyone in the Judgment Day was like, don't want to fight him. We'll let Finn deal with that." Which is good because that's going to make Ilya look a lot better. Ilya and Dragon Lee getting some respect put on them tonight was a major, major improvement because both of those guys are two of the bigger stars that have been called up from NXT in the last year that I feel like have been mistreated the most. You know, I'm not saying they need to be world champions, but I feel like they should be getting more screen time than Carlito. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up with Carlito. I feel like, all right, how about this? I like the Final Testament. I feel like Dragon Lee and Ilya should be getting more screen time than Karrion Kross right now. That being said, along the way, we also got a backstage segment with Miz and Kross, where I guess Kross is trying to sway Miz to turn heel again. In which case, come on, heel turn, because face Miz is just the worst. Face Miz is pretty terrible. And I stand by that. I've never enjoyed face Miz, and I will never see the appeal of it. That being said, my favorite thing on this show was Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, Peter Griffin versus Giant Chickening throughout the whole night, where anytime they saw one another, it was on sight. Big trucks, little trucks, for those that know my saying, these two super heavyweights are just running into each other like monster trucks, destroying everyone and everything in their path. And next week we get a last man standing match. I hope that main event's Raw, and I really hope that main event's Raw because the tease of the ring break. I think we're going to get a ring break next week in the main event of Raw if that match goes on last, and I hope it does because it has been, what, 6? No, it's been 4 years. I was going to say it's been a long time since the last ring break, but they did with Braun versus The Fiend at SummerSlam, and it felt, or no, not at yeah, at SummerSlam. And it just felt very anticlimactic. It was like, oh, they broke the ring. Or maybe it was at Payback. I don't know. It was one of the two. Either way, it was when it was one of those shows. If you know, just tell me in the comments. Yeah, drive the engagement with this video. Yes. Which Adam Pearce then announced it'll be Last Man Standing next week, or Last Monster Standing. I'm in. We got a really cool like Godzilla King Kong promo video for that later on. Damage Control / Sky Pirates versus Unholy Union happened. That was pretty cool. Don't really have much more to add to that. We also got a vignette for what appears to be the Viking Raiders return, perhaps. It was some kind of very like Nordic symbol going on there. It felt very Viking Raiders. Along the way, we also got a Wyatt 6 QR code. I didn't scan. Oh, I scanned it and I didn't click through everything, but it looks like they're very much teasing a sixth person. Perhaps Alexa Bliss, could be someone else. We'll find out sooner rather than later, hopefully. I will say that maybe they need to speed it up just a little, not take as long as they did with Wyatt 6. As well as that, we also got the Drew McIntyre promo where he said he was going to permanently end CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell, which was pretty cool. Which was pretty great. Also, it looks like, and I'm seeing this in some screenshots now, and I will try to put this on screen if I remember in editing. If not, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. Credit to Fightful on this one. We'll go over here. On Raw, it looks like there was a Lily doll in the background of the Dom and Liv segment. So it looks like we may be getting Alexa Bliss returning to go after Liv, which could be very interesting as well. Along the way, we also got American Made versus the New Day. American Made got the win after Xavier Woods got a little too focused on Gable. Not too much to add there. It was a fun match. I really liked the finish. And after that, we kind of got into the main event. And I'm sure I've forgotten a few things here. I'm trying to kind of speed along because I realize I've been talking now for almost 12 straight minutes. So the main event, Jey Uso, Braun Breaker. I'm going to be real. I was expecting Dominic Mysterio to get involved. I was expecting JD McDonough, Carlito, the Judgment Day in general to get involved because of Jay's connection to Rhea. But no, Jey just won clean. I'm not against it. Not against it by any means. I think Jay's done such great work that this is a very good reward for him. He's not going to be world champion right now. I think he would need a little more building to get there again. I think he could be world champion one day. I think he will be world champion one day. But I think this is a good stepping stone. I think Braun, you can just throw Braun Breaker in there with Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. I really had to slow down and think about whose names I was saying there. All of that being said, it was a really fun match. Braun and Jey had amazing chemistry together. Really enjoyed that match. The finish was great. I loved the Braun doing the run around the ring where they clock him at 23 miles an hour or something, and Jey just, bam, super kicking him, knocking him flat on his back, and then getting the win. I thought that was a really cool way to do it. Really happy for Jey Uso that he gets to be the Intercontinental Champion. Looking forward to seeing his reign as well. And most importantly, looking forward to maybe seeing Rikishi shut the hell up about his son not getting push. Who am I kidding? He's not going to, am I? There is he. Overall, really enjoyed this episode of Raw. Not the best episode of Raw we've had in a while, but a really solid episode. A lot of people that I want to see getting big things, got big things. Looking forward to seeing where this Xavier Woods story goes with the Rey Mysterio match next week. The New Day breakup slow burn, I'm really enjoying. That's always been my big issue with Triple H. Triple H is my favorite of all time. A lot of people know this. I mean, there's quite literally a running joke on the channel that he's my dad. Even though I look a lot more like Jack Black, let's be real. But there's a running joke that Triple H is my dad and all of that. He calls into the stream sometimes. I've got a Triple H Funko literally just off camera here on my TV stand and all of that. But like my big issue with Triple H's booking is sometimes the slow burn burns out before we get to the end. And if you know what I'm talking about there, Roman's title reign to an extent, carrying Cross in general, like all that kind of stuff. But tonight it's felt a lot smoother. It feels like the Xavier Woods slow turn is picking up steam and it's going at a good pace. It feels like hopefully the Wyatt 6 stuff is gonna not take its time, but like take its time to be fleshed out, but also build gradually more interest. Really love what they do with Liv and Rhea. Damian Priest got a nice promo as well. all of that happened. How I've talked for 15 minutes about this and I barely spent like 12 minutes on 6 hot takes is beyond me. But that being said, overall, I'm going to give it a solid A minus Raw. Just the over reliance on the Cody and Roman video package was the big thing there for me. And there were a couple points where it dragged just a little with, a little bit of stuff like some backstage segments that felt like filler, a few 2 minute. Like, I liked the video packages throughout the night, but it felt like some promos maybe went on just a little too long. Felt like maybe there were a few too many backstage segments in some places. Overall, really enjoyed the show. Giving a solid A minus this week. That is my grade for it. Tell me down below, what were your favorite parts of Raw? What did you love? What did you not love on Raw this week? What do you grade it? A plus through F minus. A plus being the best, F minus being the worst. Tell me what you thought. I'm really excited to hear it. I'm going to try and start doing these every night after the watch-alongs of Raw, NXT, TNA, SmackDown, and Premium Live events. Until then, I've been Xander. That was my review, and I will see you tomorrow for the NXT watch-along.